Good morning, ladies. My name is Jazz, and welcome to the What If Deku Was Wacky, Overpowered Character or Person here. Yeah. So, I hope that you guys enjoy this What If. Yeah. And the. So, in this What If storyline, I will go over, or I will bring a certain character from the Batman TV show of 2004. And you know her as Poison Ivy. This version. Because I want to bring back the cartoons of like past and like TV shows. So, in this What If, I also forgot that in this What If, Zugu has the powers of both Marvel's and DC Comics characters. So he has Absorbing Man's powers. He has like super intelligence and super strength and everything else under, yeah. So, without further ado, let's jump right into the What If. Zuko and Zumi were born. I'm also adding Zumi, so I forgot to mention. So they basically were born. And the quirk doctor, at age of 4, the quirk doctor tells Zumi that she has quirk and she can become a pro hero, but her brother can't because he's quirkless. And yeah. So then his parents didn't care about him anymore. So they basically, yeah, Zuko ends up getting abandoned, and abused by the bullies. These, mostly Bakugo. As Zuko runs away, and he ran into the Mechanical Gardens. Let me just... There we go. Instead of going back and forth. He ran into an abandoned Mechanical Garden where Poison Ivy was at. And, yeah. The Poison Ivy ends up because it was abandoned by everyone else. So Poison Ivy was the only one that's at there. And so when Zuko walks in, he sees all these beautiful flowers and trees that are growing in the garden. And this is what he sees. But when he went in the hallway, and he went to the... I forget what that place is called. where Poison Ivy's, like, from Batman Arkham Asylum, where that character battled against Batman scene. So she was there, but instead of her, like, being all upset, and so she ends up seeing Zuko as a trespasser. But then, of course, Poison Ivy, this version, I'm still keeping it almost similar to the Batman, like, TV shows things, where she's like a villain. But in this, what if she's basically like on the same level as All for One, but she's different from All for One. Instead of her wanting everyone to join her, she only wants to be left alone. But then when Poison Ivy or when she looks up and locks eyes with Zuko, she immediately fell in love with him. To the point that even she still cares about her plants, things, and so, but Zuko in this doesn't know that Poison Ivy is the second most dangerous villain in this What If universe. So, but when she basically went in, or so, she sat down and she lured him in as when he sat down with her, and she could sense pain and suffering from inside of his body, and she could see how much pain as she went over and hugged him, as she tells him, "I'll be here," as she uses her charm to, like, subdue him, as she actually felt something that's normally she feels like she wants to be. Normally, she cares about her plants, like basically the trees and and all that stuff. But then when he entered into her life, she immediately went from, like, I want to turn this city into the most beautiful garden, to just want him to be her boyfriend thing. Because he's more, so she's interested in him. Because she could see what he felt. Because she was mistreated for being quirkless too, until she gained the powers of plants. Hence. And let's say she's 5 years old, same age as Zuko. And so, a time skip to 15. As she hangs around with him way more than anything. As the pro heroes are usually or still confused about, have you ever heard of anything like confirmation about poison ivy? No. That's weird. Normally she tries her evil schemes and all that stuff. But then when no one knew about it. But she was actually dating Zuko. Plus, when she basically, as she allowed, or to the point that she even allowed him to even put her or his head on her lap. Yeah. Because, yeah. So over time, time has passed. And no, she didn't basically use spores hers like the um um to infect Superman. It was, I'm trying to figure out. So, it's that one scene where it was that one scene where, oh, here it is. That one. Like how the nanite or the poison ivy's thing. She didn't use it on Zuko because she actually felt so bad about the having this, like, her friend being tortured by the bullies and all that stuff. Well, yeah, she actually went from being a supervillain to being a caring person. Like, she cares about him. And then yeah. So, the time skip to All Might versus All for One. So, during the time skip, like say during this or before the sports festival, Renzuku was just walking around, looking at how beautiful the nature is, and get some cup of coffee for her, like him and her. and but he ran into Hero Killer Stain when he was trying to walk to the mechanical gardens, and yeah, and Hero Killer Stain was about to slice Zuku's face, but like there was only a mark of it, like a big slice. And he's as the right across his face. Sorry. Yeah. So, yeah. So basically, Zuko and Copper music coming in. So, yeah. I'm just gonna do this. So yeah, Zuko ends up. And sorry. It was pretty loud, so dogs barking. So yeah. So when Poison Ivy, I know what I was on. So when Zuko actually, when Hero Killer Stain was about to end Zuko's life, because, yeah, he didn't, or Hero Killer Stain didn't know that he was just an innocent civilian. So, but then when Poison Ivy heard that Zuko's in trouble and he's about to get killed, she immediately used her powers, and the tree grabs Hero Killer Stain and like turned Hero Killer Stain into the blood on the floor, or stain on the floor. Yeah, like basically squeezed a. You ever had to squeeze a lemon and the juice comes out like a lemon juice? Well, that is like similar to Hero Killer Stain. And crumpled him up like a paper and throws him far away. And Zuko's face was cut all the way, not all the way across, but you know how, like, I'm trying to find, it's like one of those scars. Well, so when Poison Ivy, or so the plants took him back to the, yeah, and he did apologize for, or he was trying to walk back to here, but then with a cup of coffee for you. But then, yeah, I know, but don't worry. Right, me. And she calls him Sweet Pea because yeah. Her, out of everyone that calls, or so, she actually is the only one, or so, Zuko's the only one that she cares about, too. Besides her plans, because she cares more about her plan. But the only new respect was for her with him. So, yeah. So then she cleans up the blood off of the Zuko's face. And, yeah. And she also cleaned up the Stain's blood by using her plants. So, but before, like during this time skip, this is still a time skip. So, during overtime, she actually collected Zuko's blood. Because she has so much respect for him that even, like, yeah. That even she basically used his DNA mixed with hers to create their own daughter. Yeah. So she basically wanted to surprise Zuko about, like, because she didn't tell Zuko that about him or about her. Like, yeah. So after that, and the whole explaining the time skip thing. So to the All Might versus All for One. All Might was down, but not out. And, of course, All for One charges up his laser and he shoots it. But at that exact same moment, Zuko was nearby. And so when he walked right past, or no, he ran all the way up to ran right in front of All Might. And the laser attack went right at him. But All Might was like covered his eyes. Or lowers his eyes. But then out of nowhere, Zuko actually saved his life. And so yeah. Basically Zuko was, when All for One sees this, as he says, don't. Or actually, Zuko says in a deep voice, don't hurt my favorite idol. Symbol of peace. He doesn't need to be brutally murdered by you, All for One. As when Zuko absorbed the attack, he became the most dangerous person. As All for One looks, oh look, the number, or Poison Ivy's boyfriend. As his face becomes blushed. They, isn't that right? Poison Ivy. And she appears right next to Zuko, her boyfriend. Yes. It is true that we're in a relationship. But no need. So when everyone heard that the Poison Ivy and Zuko were dating, everybody was like shocked, including All Might. Hank, because All Might faced many villains, and he has battled against the Poison Ivy before. Here. And yeah, but it's a shock to him. Like, basically, he didn't realize that so guess the rumors are true, that you changed a lot, Ivy. As she says, yes. After meeting my beloved Zuko, nothing ever changed with you. But because he protected you from All for One, he and he aren't so different. We were born with powers instead of quirks like yours and everyone else's. Me with my poison in plants, and his absorption of powers, or absorbing man's, or absorption of infinity. So basically, he has powers of infinite zero and absorbing man. So basically, to save some time. Yeah. So but that's not, as she says, that's not important right now. What is important is you versus us. As Zuko knows what she means, as he did tell her that don't like overdo it. Yeah. As before the battle started, she actually went up to him and kissed him right on the cheek and told him that So then Zugu and All for One was going to charge in and basically punched, basically did the cross counter. As he says, no one, and All for One says, no one could ever beat me. I'll take that bet. As Zuko says, I'll be the first one to beat you, whom. As Zuko just straight up knocks, like, he basically knocks Overhaul, or I keep saying Overhaul, I meant All for One, around like a little ragdoll. And yeah, as he activates his most powerfulest form, because he says, "You can take it, big man." And aren't you? As Zuko activates his powers, as it evolves him into a most dangerous person in the entire universe. Number 00019. Named Zero Destroyer Zuko. This version of Zuko is different from the one that I did in the last video, though, like the past video before this one. But what makes this one different from the other one is that this one, because he actually can control plants too, just like how Poison Ivy. So he makes like constructs of the, like, basically plants to form his, like, into his armor. And so when Zuko beats around All for One, pretty much, yeah. And so when Zuko won against All for One, wins against All for One, he gave it his all, man. As he's like tired out, as Poison Ivy knows that theme, as she basically used her plants to, like, basically to, like, make a, because it was so much power that he used to to defeat All for One. Yeah, and so when Zuko fell asleep, Poison Ivy used her plans to pick him and like bring him to the mechanical gardens. And yeah, placed him in the bed as she actually loves him more and more when he impresses her. So now we go back to the All for One versus All Might, or so scene where All Might, I'm trying to find All Might. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? All Might and the pro heroes are still stunned that how does, even Bakugo is still stunned about how did he find some, or how did he convince the number 2 villain to become a good person? As everybody's like wondering that same question. And because they all know that Zuko, they all know the Poison Ivy's is evil and she's a number 2 villain. But somehow Zuko, they're trying to make some ideas to make it make sense. He probably went up to Poison Ivy and asked her, or like basically they were trying to make sense of it. But then yeah. Yeah. So when everybody was like, how does everybody, All Might has faced an off against like Poison Ivy before, and he has won against her multiple times. But then it was the opposite. I mean, so he lost to her a couple times, but somehow Zuko just straight up, it's like someone just basically, yeah, did a whole 180. So onto, yeah. So then, yeah. So a time skip to the following day. As he wakes up, he sees Poison Ivy laying with him, as she was basically laying with him and like literally petting him. So yeah. So when he wakes up, he feels all groggy because, or not upset. It's just, so when she basically, she knows that. So when he went to take a shower, he did take a shower and, yeah, and had some coffee and, yeah. So yeah. So when he looks over at her, or he did, or so she actually did prepare his clothes for him. And yeah. So what was when you said during the All Might versus All for One fight, you had a surprise? Yeah, I did. I do, actually. I haven't told you that and please don't be mad, but as Zucker thought, his first thought was that he didn't know what she was trying to go for, but then his first thought was that he like cheated on him, but she could see it in his eyes. No, I haven't cheated on you, but instead, as she taps her fingers together, I kind of used your blood, hun, to make something special. Okay. As she as she covers his eyes. No peeking, okay? Okay. So when she brought their daughter in, and now you open. Surprise. Our own daughter. As she says, "Hi, Father." As she looks like, because she can tell, or so he can tell that the Zuku's, that's his daughter. Give me a minute. There was a... Here, hold on. Let's see. Right here. Just to be safe, I'm going to copy this part so that the...
Flora Midoriya.
Flora... Yeah, I'll just say Flora Midoriya is a... Basically, she's the daughter of Poison Ivy and him. And so they both... So when Zuko ends up realizing, as she actually... So he basically is happy that as he had tears of joy, as he's so happy. So he has his own daughter, and he has his own girlfriend that, yeah. So a time skip to overhaul. Time skip passing overhaul, because I don't feel like doing this very long video, because after all, what time is it? And it is 4:30. Yeah. So, yeah. So Zuko ends up basically telling... a time skip to the future, where she gets married to Zuko, and she actually basically she has 2 kids now, because, yeah. So when her first one is her, because she used the Zuko's blood to create her, and then the second one is a guy or a male that even, stuff like that is crazy. So and basically Zuko, their son looks more like when Zuko first used his powers. The number 00019. Destroyer Zuko. Who's his... Yeah, he kind of looks like that. But with his red hair instead of... But his skin is same green color as his mother, so yeah. But more dark green. So both of them so yeah. So Poison Ivy and Zuko, so their first daughter on her was is at age of 5 years old. And she looks more human than her brother. And because her brother has same skin color as her mother with her hair. And yeah. And so, yeah. All that stuff. And so, in the near future thing, everybody was like seeing Zuko as a true hero. Because he obtained one of the most wanted, powerful villains. Because All Might couldn't defeat her. All for One couldn't defeat her. And all the pro heroes and pro villains couldn't defeat her. But then Zuko comes out of nowhere and she immediately falls in love with him. And she lost the being overpowered category to him. So, and I forgot to mention, I sometimes add like weird stuff. So Killer Croc does show up, and I'm talking about his like on the Batman. Alright, hold on. Killer Croc. That's a croc, old boy. Yeah. So this version of Crockle, yeah. Not the other ones. But this version. So yeah, when Killer Croc was told Zuko, or actually, Killer Croc actually has respect for Zuko. He actually told him that the man and every other villain and couldn't even defeat her. Not even the pro heroes. But somehow, he says, somehow you just came out of nowhere and she immediately fell in love with you. What's your trick? As Croc, so Killer Croc actually is quirkless too, but he had a mutation and power is similar to, like, yeah. So when Zuko says, why do you ask that? Well, there's some rumors that spread around, or questions that needed to be asked. As Poison Ivy says, there's, wait, so you're saying in Croc that how did he obtain me? Like, basically, as Killer Croc says, yeah. How did he do it with? Because everyone says that you're the villain. You're number 2 compared to All for One and myself. As he's number 3. So, yeah. So, I never thought about that, as Zucker says. As Poison Ivy walks up, and she says, that's hence easy question. It's because, you ever heard of a term, love at first sight? Is actually quite simple. When he and I first met, right off the bat, I could tell that he was in pain. But I loved him. After when we first met. As Killer Croc was like, so a little bit shocked about this. Here, hold on. Shocked. When he's heard that, so you're saying, Ivy, that this, or so it was love at first sight. Interesting. Because he never actually had any, like, yeah. So, yeah. So when Poison Ivy says, yeah, or Zuko's like, yeah. So basically both of them agree, as Killer Croc's like, yeah. And it's good to see, or to actually meet you, Zuko. Nice to meet you here too. And I didn't get your name. Oh, Waylon Jones. But please call me Killer Croc. I could see. But, so you have powers instead of quirk, right? Yeah. Just like the rest of it. Yeah. But I'm more dangerous. Because Poison Ivy might have the upper hand on, like, fight thing. So Killer Croc and Poison Ivy, or no, Killer Croc and Deku were just hanging out, having like bonding, because but he did, or when all the supervillains like Bane and other characters from Batman universe was in the story, they all respected Deku because, and Poison Ivy was dating Deku, so, or actually Poison Ivy got married to Deku. And, yeah. So the crime rate dropped to 0%. Like, basically, it went from, like, where it was, like, down by 3% by All Might. But when Deku came along, and after everyone heard that Poison Ivy and Deku were dating and got married, the crime rate went down to 0. Yeah, every villain respected him now. And All For One, I forgot to mention, All For One actually did die. And Deku actually didn't, like, kill him. But off screen, he says, "I'll get Deku next time." As, let's say, Bane says, there won't, or, yeah. Here, hold on. Bane says, there won't be a next time. As, yeah, he basically went all out and just boom. Yeah. He basically killed All For One right then and there. Because Bane actually knew why Zeku's... yeah. So, now this is the end of the What If. Please leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, and do all that fun stuff. And I know I say, or I know in the titles of this video that says the full movie. Well, I had to explain certain stuff at the beginning of this video, adding a lot of details, and yeah, because people that do like these what ifs, sometimes they have to script it out before, and it takes them a long time. Plus, also recording for a long time too, like the YouTubers, and yeah, all that stuff. Well, didn't mean to do that. I meant to do this. So yeah. So, yeah. And no, I'm not ordering any pictures. So yeah, if you guys want me to do more of like Batman villains and like, because there's a lot of people that do like, what if Batman, or no, what if Deku was Bane, and or what if Deku was Scarecrow, Stuff like that is just too bizarre to me. But at least I got this one. I already did one with like, what if Poison Ivy, or no, what if Zuko had Poison Ivy as a girlfriend back then? So I wanted to implement some of that part into this what if. So, like, basically how they met and yeah, during the time skip thing, and yeah. And for my next what if thing, I'm thinking about doing like their kids as their own separate characters in the alternate universes stories. Do you guys accept, or do you guys want me to do like their kids, like basically imagining like custom kids, and like basically the what if something, yeah. So like basically imagining their, yeah, imagine if they had like kids and yeah, as their separate people. So like basically Bane Zuko becomes, yeah, or this stuff, because yeah, if you guys want me to do like something with like crazy, like basically think about the how crazy it would be if like me doing adding her as her own separate character, where to extend her backstory and or like creating new stories. So peace out, Cub Scouts, and have a good night or day, depending on the time zones. Peace. And please leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, and do all that fun stuff. Peace.